John's logos is drawn from the Old Testament, just like Philo's logos was. They were reading the Old Testament and they could see this hypostatic being, a figure who is not just personified, but is an actual being having its own consciousness, its own existence. And it's in the Old Testament. In 1 Samuel 3, we've got an example of it where it tells us that in 3:1, the boy Samuel ministered before the Lord, Yahweh, under Eli. In those days, the word of the Lord was rare, and there were not many visions. So this is ocular centric. This is not oral. This is not something that was heard, a word that was a message, but something that was seen. And so there were not many of those visions of the word of the Lord at that time. It was much more common during the time of Abraham and during the time of Moses. The angel of Yahweh was the embodied Yahweh and was seen. He spoke face to face with Moses. He spoke with Abraham. They walked together. And the discussion that was had about Sodom and Gomorrah and what if there's 10 less, what if there's 50, what if there's 10 less, that was a face-to-face discussion with the angel of Yahweh, who was being identified as the Word of Yahweh. So this is an ocular-centric vision, appearance, revealing of God to Samuel. And as the text points out, that it says that Eli recognized that because there was some confusion about who was calling Samuel, and Eli recognized that this was God calling him. And it says that he told Eli, you need to call out and say, "Here I am." And he does that. And it tells us that that Yahweh stood there. Yahweh came and stood there, calling as at other times. So this is a being that was speaking to Samuel, young Samuel. And at the end of 1 Samuel 3, in verse 21, it tells us that all Israel from Dan down to Beersheba recognized that Samuel was attested as a prophet of Yahweh, and Yahweh continued to appear at Shiloh, and there he revealed himself to Samuel by let's see here, how does it Bedavar Yehovah, Bedavar Yehovah. So in the word, by the word of Jehovah. And so here we have this figure that God was using to reveal himself to Samuel. So this is where the Targumists also draw from. They're drawing from this ready-made figure who is the angel of Yahweh, who's known as the Word of Yahweh, and is a hypostatic being. And so they're drawing from this when they're trying to avoid God having any kind of embodiment. So the Memra in the Targumim, the Shekinah, these are embodied figures that they're drawing from when they're talking about God in these appearances. So John's drawn from the same place. Philo's drawing from the same place, from these same texts. This is ready-made, it's there, and as Dustin pointed out, Isaiah 55:11, you've got God's word going forth, and it's a figure, and it accomplishes what he tells it to. In Genesis, when God says, "Let us make man in our image," there are other figures there. Heiser views this as the divine counsel, but this is easily can be viewed as the Word, who is with God. And when God commands, "Let there be light," this is in the masculine form, so he's commanding someone, and not just speaking into the air, or so to speak. He's speaking to someone. He's addressing someone. "Let there be light." And so the word of Yahweh is the one that accomplishes this. This is what John is drawing from. So the Logos isn't just a concept in God's mind, but the Logos is a divine figure who is existing with God.